Okay, so today, guys, we're back with the fourth update from the $1,000 10NL challenge. For anyone new, we are trying to win $1,000 at 10NL cash games on 888, and every hand has to be streamed or recorded. If you want to watch the challenge live, then it's streamed on my Twitch channel. You can find the link to that in the description below. And if you didn't catch the most recent challenge update, I recommend checking that out first. I'll leave a link up here for you. And since that last update, we've played another 30,000 hands, leaving us around the 120,000 hand mark. Last time out, the results were pretty ugly as a result of a lot of the things you've been seeing in the top 10 hands of the week videos. However, I'm very pleased to say that in 2022, we've started to turn things around quite nicely, as you will see in the graph very shortly. But at the same time, I am still finding the challenge extremely tough mentally, and I will go into all the reasons for that later on when we play one table for the challenge, as we normally do for these videos. I'm also going to be talking about some very exciting new content that involves me playing a lot more 50NL. We're going to have live play videos on the channel and also a variety of session reviews from some top pros, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. If you are enjoying the challenge and the update videos, then please do me a massive favor by dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. It really does help me out. But without further ado, let's get on to what you're all here for and go and take a look at the updated results for the $1,000 10NL challenge. Okay, so here it is, guys, in all of its glory. The updated graph for the challenge. We have now played 119,704 hands, and we have won some money. $348.49 for a big blind win rate of 2.91. It has just dipped below the 3 mark because we had a bad session the other day with Ben in the booth, unfortunately, but I think we played quite well, so it's not the end of the world. And you're going to have those sessions, guys. And if I just sunrun the whole way through and been up like 450, then I don't think that really would have been an accurate representation of how things have gone anyway. So as you can see, we have clawed back the EV. We're now above EV by around 3 buy-ins, and I will not apologize for that in one single way, shape, or form. As you can see, this is where we were last time. This was at the very beginning of the year. We were down, well, we were up like 40 cents or something. You'll be able to check that in the last video, but here's where I believe we were after 90,000 hands. Yeah, so this makes sense. About here. And since then, we've played 30,000 hands and we have won $350, so 35 buy-ins. We had gone ourselves up to near the 400 mark, but as I said, we had a bad session the other day. We are going to talk a lot more about how I've been feeling during this time as we go into play one table in a second, but I can just touch on it now. Winning in the challenge compared to losing hasn't felt as good as I thought it would. And yeah, like I said, we're going to talk about that, but I think the main reason is how far away the finish line still feels and how long it's taken me, obviously, to get to this point. And I could go through another stretch of bad fortune, obviously. I honestly don't really, and I think this is true for most people, I recall this not very well at all, basically. I think that you just remember bad hands, obviously, a lot more than you do good hands. And I just think that it was fairly normal. I ran above average, but I just stopped running like complete shit. And that's just the main reason why we're back in the mix in the challenge. There was a time where we were considering quitting. I don't think I ever really seriously was going to quit. I think I am closer to quitting now. Not that I'm close to quitting, but I think I'm closer to quitting now than I was when I was getting pumped back here. Middle of December, down $150. And the reason for that is I feel like if I'd quit at the very bottom, it would have been like, oh, you just can't beat it and you've lost. And even though I don't think that's true, I don't think I could have ended there. Whereas now it's like, okay, I think I can show that I'm winning. I mean, in 3 big blinds, it's not a lot, but in the rake structure at 10NL, obviously now, if I'd be playing a normal bankroll strategy, I'd be moving up. So I'm now at that point where, I see like Mark's challenge, he moves up. I can't move up. I have to keep playing for a lot. And I don't love that feeling, and I don't love the meta game of 10NL in my particular pool anyway. I don't love it. It's great for making money. It's great for moving up the stakes, but I have to stay there. And I think that's what hurts. And yeah, that is why I have decided to play some 50NL. And I don't know how often I'll be playing 50NL, but every now and again, I'm going to play some 50NL. And I'm just going to get myself back into the part of the games that I enjoy. Hopefully, the pools are... I haven't played 50NL lots, but whenever I have played, it's been a lot more normal, a lot more poker being played, and I'm ready to play some poker. I feel like I haven't played... Obviously, I'm playing poker, but it's been a diluted form, if you will. And I need to find that spark of enjoyment back, and I think mixing in some 50 is going to help. And like I said in the intro, we're going to be doing some series with some live play videos and some review sessions with some very, very good players, which I hope you guys are going to enjoy. I'm certainly looking forward to doing them, and I think that's going to help me get my spark back. I think the mistake I've been making is I've been playing just 10NL because I want to get this done as soon as I can, and I think I've hit a wall of enjoyment that I need to accept, that I have to take a break from this challenge every now and again, and come back to it with a fresh mindset, because I've been winning and just tilting because I've just been so... I tried to play 3 tables a couple of times just because, and I think that's gone really well, honestly. I think that's something that I will do. I need to be careful because when I'm on stream, that is kind of difficult sometimes. But I do think that I enjoy doing that. I do think it concentrates me more. I do think it stops me from getting bored and tilted by playing 2 tables, because there's more things going on to concentrate on. And if I tell myself before a session I'm going to concentrate, then I do tend to do that a lot better. But I've allowed myself to slip a lot mentally recently, and I think... even though these results, I'm very, very, very pleased. If we can look at a couple of interesting dates. So basically this year, you can see that I've run pretty good. So yeah, since that last update, but this is basically every hand since the last update video. And around here, I just started to run obviously quite well. Here, it was just pretty normal. I was up $230 running to EV, so pretty happy with that. And then we had a bit of a sun run, which, like I said, I'm never going to apologize for. If we look at so this is the whole challenge. If we look, for example, since December, start of December, we were having a bad time. Like around the 10th of December is when I'm up to. This is where I'm up to in the highlights, and I'm really far behind in highlights. And hopefully, the 15L doing 15L on the side will bring me back up to date with the top 10 hands of the week, because that will only be at 10NL. 15L will be a separate thing. Will be midweek videos. But yeah, I'm winning at 11 big blinds almost. Well, I'm winning at 11 big blinds this year. I'm winning at 11 big blinds nearly since the start of December now, since the last video that you would have seen just this weekend gone on top 10. Yeah, so we nearly completed half, like we were at our peak since, unfortunately, we had that bad session, a couple of bad sessions. We were at our peak of, we won $500 in the space of 40,000 hands. So we won half the challenge in 40,000 hands, which is extremely good. I'm really happy with that. Obviously, we've run well, but in the context of the whole thing running terribly to begin with, I'm really happy with it. And I still think the EV doesn't tell the whole story. If you saw last week's video, you'll know that I was getting creamed in spots. I was just getting it in with dead, but I couldn't do anything about it. So I do think overall we are beginning to even out, and it doesn't always even out, but it seems to have done here, which I'm very pleased about. But again, I need to take a step back and have a think. So yeah, again, this year, 11.23 big blinds, which is really, really pleasing. We're not going to let this dip off affect me. We're just going to take a break and rethink, come back with a fresh mentality moving forward. So with that all being said, yeah, there's not much to say. Usually I talk about like how, you know, each part of the graph that happened. I don't honestly recall many of the hands. I think I was genuinely just autopiloting pretty hard, and I settled on that I was going to stick close to theory in most situations and exploit hard for people I have notes on and stuff, and that's worked really well for me. And being on 2 tables, I've just coasted through, and I'm really pleased with it. So we need to keep that going. But yeah, I don't really recall many of this, and I think it's because it's not been bullshit. So so it's easier to forget about the hands when you win, I think, for sure. But anyway, let's go and play one table of 10NL and talk. I think I've talked quite a little bit about my feelings actually, but I always end up in this next session getting into a hand and not being able to articulate what I wanted to say. So I'm kind of glad that I got most of it out now. But we are going to talk about in as much detail as I can as we go into now playing one table of the challenge on 8-8. Let's go. Okay guys, here we go. We're going to play one table as we always do for these videos in the challenge, and I am actually going to do probably some live play and explains, not play and explains, but live footage of me doing the challenge coming up. I think that's something that you guys would be interested in seeing, so like as I would do on Twitch, but just for YouTube instead. And I think that would help me as well be much more concentrated. We are going to play one table because It allows me to talk about some of the things that I want to talk about that I've got written down on a notepad on the other side. If you see me looking at the screen, just to remind myself what I want to talk about today. So obviously, if we're in a spot, I have no fucking idea what my response is to this. I believe we're supposed to do a bit of everything, but I cannot remember. I'm going to do a bit of everything, so this is a call. But I'm not sure. This could just be, to be honest, guys, ranges, not something that I've put loads of effort into studying ever, which is obviously a huge mistake. But yeah, so let's actually think about the spot. So we went for 2 checks, which I think is pretty normal. I don't think we ever want to bet this turn. We do now have a straight, which I think is good, but he's unlikely to call very often. So I think going with a smaller bet is probably best. I don't think he would ever have a 7. I think a 7 would always raise, always bet the turn. I think it's so difficult for him to check back twice and have a hand that wants to call big bets. Even though our hand is almost certainly the best hand. So that's why I've decided to go with a 40% sizing. You could argue for bigger for sure, but I think exploitatively this sizing is going to work a bit better. I just don't think that this guy can really have any good hands at all. So hopefully we get looked up by something very speculative and makes me look a bit better. Yeah, so that was that is incredibly speculative. So you can see exploitatively. I have learned a lot of pretty handy exploits over the course of these hands that I've played. In these spots against, and here's another one. In these spots against shorter stacks, I like to make small 3 bets and flop flushes. That's mainly what I go for. No, but in all seriousness, I do like to 3-bet small in position to keep the SPR low, so that I've got a better chance of outplaying them post flop. And then I'm always going to use small bets here. I could even use smaller, but against these players, it doesn't really matter. Really, really good turn. Hopefully, Alexandru shoves, he calls, and then we can probably just call behind. Yeah, I was expecting that a lot. I feel like I'm in the mind of these players now, which I'm not sure is. I'm not convinced is a good thing when they're playing like this. But anyway, guys, this is what we're dealing with. This is why we're back on track. But to be fair, I was playing against these kind of players before and just losing every pot. So anyway, first thing I want to talk about is how far behind I am with highlights. And the reason we're behind in highlights is because I do top 10 rather than highlights. Like Mark does highlights, and he just crams it all into, which is probably better, but it takes longer. And I kind of prefer top 10 formats. I like watching top 10 formats, so I decided to do them for myself as well. But we're quite far behind because when you do top 10, you've only got 10 hands to choose, and it's hard to catch up when you only can use 10 hands a week, right? So we fall behind. But hopefully now with the 50NL stuff that we're going to do, we're going to catch up a little bit with that. Because, like I said before, those hands will go into a different category, and we'll be doing 50NL in midweek videos rather than end-of-week videos. We defended the big line here with King 4 diamonds, which is pretty standard. We call the flop, which is pretty standard, and I'm going to check out the turn. And we'll be folding the river mostly, but also our hand functions pretty well as a bluff. I'm not going to try and bluff this fellow when he bets pot on the river, though. Seems pretty suicidal. We've got a coffee. I tend to always start my sessions with a coffee. I also haven't eaten yet today, which is probably not ideal, but I usually don't play when I haven't eaten. But that's why we're behind in highlights. I kind of like it for one reason, because it means that anyone that watches the stream, it's like looking back on a funny time kind of thing, if that makes sense. But also for YouTube, it's not great to be behind the highlights. So I'm hoping to be within a month by the end of this 50NL stuff I'm going to be doing. We're currently 3 months behind, which is unideal, but yeah, just wanted to mention that. So what's been happening to me this year? I've studied a lot. This year, I decided that I was going to study a lot, and I have studied a lot. I'm not going to play calls here against that stack size. I have studied a lot with the guys in my Discord. Huge thank you to everyone in my Discord that's helped me improve this year. Not necessarily mentally, but certainly skill-wise. If I start naming names, I'll forget someone, I'll feel bad, so I'm not going to do that. But you know who you are, guys, so thank you very much. I've definitely improved. We've been, most days, recently it's been more difficult because I've been away and stuff, and I've been busy when I've come back. But most days before I went away to Vegas, I was been studying, and that's had a couple of results. Does that make sense? One, I've gotten better and felt more confident, which has helped my play massively. And two, obviously that's like the main advantage. That's why we study, right? But this, on the other hand, the flip side, I have literally been getting up, studying for 2 hours, go to the gym, I come back, I'll stream, and then I'll make a video or whatever, and then that's like my day. Sometimes I'll get to play some games or whatever and spend some time with my girlfriend, but most of the time I'm just doing poker. And then when I added in this is why I didn't study before, when I added in 2 hours of study, I was just completely cream crackered. I just couldn't get myself up for a session because I was so exhausted from playing so much poker. And combining that, being mentally spent, I mean, these sessions are drills. They are not soft sessions. I mean, we're talking, 20 minutes per hand GTO training. Like, it's a drilling. I feel properly thrusted at the end of it. So, picking up the aces. So yeah, it's not like it's not smooth sailing. So it's definitely, considering I'm new to it, it's definitely taken out of me. Let's 3-bet these aces, and then we'll go back to what we're talking about. Lovely little cold call from this fellow. Looks really good. And by the way, guys, we have got our stars caption, as you will have seen, and our HUD as well, working perfectly. Hopefully we get 4-bet here. That'll be juicy. We do get 4-bet. So I think with Rafi in the mix, we just want to call here, because Rafi will call always. We don't just want to shove here in position. I would pure call this if Rafi wasn't involved anyway. So I'm just going to ignore Rafi and just call. And this is probably very, very bad. And the reason is we block ace king hard, and the other hand that we're concerned about, kings, is obviously now improved. So this could be bad. We're not going to do anything but call and then call off, obviously. But I'm just going to call, and then hopefully he has ace king, but like kings is a pretty big concern. And I think without a spade on this turn, I'm just going to go all in with this SPR. I'm not going to try and trap him or anything. He bet half pot on the flop. Not really sure what to expect here, but I think that going all in is best. If I had a spade, I would check. And he does fold. Maybe we could have let him buff the river, but also one thing to say is that I think on a 93 we can open this. I think one thing to say is that I don't expect people to bluff a half pot on the river. Less than half pot on the river very often, because they in their minds I don't think it works. So yeah, I think that's another thing to consider there. I think checking the turn always with a spade, and with ace king with a spade as well, I would check as well, just because a hand needs less protection. I think it's a very reasonable thing to do. And like, our hand's not invulnerable. We do lose to some stuff, and some things maybe on a spade don't call, but they would call on the turn. So it's an interesting spot, but I think played reasonably well. We're going to obviously complete here in the big blind and check 7-9-4 rainbow. We're going to try and go for 20 minutes here, guys, and I've already been going for 10, and I've not even like gotten through any of what I wanted to say. So hopefully let's just talk while we're doing this. So yeah, studying a lot and mentally spent, and then going to these sessions which I'd play 2 tables and try and really concentrate, and I'd just run out of energy. And then when people play really, like short stacks, and it doesn't feel like any of my studies useful, even though it is, I have to tell myself that, and it's just mentally draining. And even though I've been winning, that's been really, really hurtful to my to my head. My brain has been suffering. So we called here. I'm not going to lead this turn, but I am going to probably have to bluff this river. Yeah, so we're going to bluff this river always, and we're just going to use like 133% pot, and purely because we have jack high. He checked back instantly on the turn, which usually means that they don't have much, and I'm an adult. Those 3 things. So yeah, been studying a lot, enjoying the game not as much, and I've had a really poor attitude towards my sessions this year, even though I've been winning. Like recently, especially, really poor attitude towards it, because of, I think I need to 3-table, basically, is what I'm saying. I think I need to 3-table, and the reason I want to 3-table is because it holds my concentration better. A lot of the times when I'm 2-tabling, nothing happens for a sustained period of time. People playing really tight, having to fold queens pre-flop a lot and stuff. That recently, I just haven't enjoyed that, and it hasn't gone along well with other things that have been going on. So I stopped thinking, and I've had a poor attitude, and that's why I've had to step. I've noticed it, and what really happened was, to push me over the line to place in 50 and take a step back from the challenge was Ben came in the booth on Thursday. As you'll know from highlights, if you watch the highlights every week, you'll know that he comes in the booth to watch me play, and he's always enjoyed it. And on Thursday, he didn't enjoy it because I was being a miserable little fucker and wasn't thinking about the poker and doing myself no favors whatsoever. And when he started having a pop at me on stream, I was like, okay, he wouldn't do this unless he really, wanted the best for me. He always, everything he says is for the best. Obviously, he doesn't want to waste his time either, but he doesn't want me to lose. And he could see that what I was doing was going to lead me to losing. So I have decided, to do the 15L thing. And I've also noticed a lot of people that I want something else I want to say. In my comment section of my top 10s, a lot of people just leaping on me for tilting and raging and stuff. You have to remember that when you're giving me advice in these places, I mean, it's fair enough because you don't know or whatever, but it's 3 months ago, and I was in a pretty bad time with the challenge. And at the end of the day, I'm a streamer. I try to be entertaining. I try to not hold back if I don't think it's going to affect me, or even if it does. I want to just be myself. I'm not putting any of it on, but I want to be myself. And myself, I was pretty fucking tilted, so I decided to just just let that happen. I have, as you'll see when I play 50NL, that will not bother me one single bit. When I'm playing 50NL, and a lot of people, I think when they're offering me advice, which I really appreciate, they're saying, you can't move up when you do this stuff. You can't be doing this when you play these stakes, yada yada. I agree with you, and I won't. And I can, without a shadow of a doubt, tell you that when I play 50NL, or 25, whatever I end up playing over the course of the next few weeks, I will not tilt when I lose a stack. I will not tilt. I will spaff off a stack in a 3-barrel, and I'll enjoy it, because that's what this is just a 3-bet and then get in on every board. I think we can make this like 8. We can't fold once we reduce the SPR to this. Obviously, hopefully just shove so we don't have to think. We're not thinking regardless. Obviously, we're all in. But yeah, when I lose a stack at 50 or 25, I'm literally not even going to remotely be bothered. It's just because at 10NL, I set myself a challenge. I want to finish it. I want to show good results. And if it doesn't go well, it feels bad. And when I'm winning, even when I'm winning $350, $400 in the challenge, as I have been recently, whenever I lose a pot, or whenever I can't get myself into situations where I can win a pot, it annoys me. And it shouldn't, but it annoys me because I can see the graph, because I look at the graph every day. I show everyone the graph every day on Twitch. I can see it coming off the top of my graph. I can feel it coming off the top of my graph, and I want to push forward and end this challenge. And that's the wrong attitude, but that's how I feel. And that's how I have been feeling. Coupled with the other things that I've already said, it's not conducive to a winning environment. So I've had to take a step back, basically. Let's squeeze this, talk about a couple more things, and then we'll call it a day. I'm going to make this 15 big blinds here. Specifically, the button I don't think is ever going to fold. We can just make this slightly bigger. 13.5 to 14 is okay. I think this is actually just pretty normal, actually. 14.5, 15 is good. He's also deeper, this guy. Jack 4-7, with no backdoor equity and only 2 overcards, and this board being particularly bad for me because I'm not going to squeeze pocket 7s, pocket 4s. Obviously, I'm only going to have pocket jacks, and my opponent this deep can definitely have 4s and 7s and always pocket jacks. I'm going to just check. And this turn, we can do some betting probably and some checking. But again, this card is really good for him. Let's do a bit of both. And on an 89, I guess we're going to be betting. Actually, you know what? That was a mistake. What I should have done, and which is what Clancy and Ben have always told me, is to choose what I'm going to do first, not just see a number and then do it. So I'm going to check now because that was my instinct to check originally. If I could have this back and I hadn't tanked this long, wow, okay. I'm glad that I didn't do it now. If I could have this back and I hadn't tanked this long, then I would, because once I start tanking and then I bet, I think I get a lot less credit for my bet. But if I could have it back, I would have, because I'm doing a video, it's a lot harder to do this, and I don't really do it that often enough anyway. And this is kind of why I like talking through my decisions when I do them or when I make them. Is I want to think about what sizing I want to use on that turn, and then I want to choose a number. If I want to bet it sometimes and I want to check it sometimes, I should say, right, I'm going to bet it this often, and I'm going to check it this often, and then I should roll, and then I should do what I want to do, whether that be right or wrong. But that's how I want to approach my 50-0 games and stuff like that. So that's what I should have done. So that was a proper butcher. And 200 deep, I'm not sure whether we're going to be betting that turn or not. And I don't think that it's a spot that we need to be betting. To be honest, I think even after I rolled and I saw the roll, I was like, I don't think this is going to bet very often, because obviously we even if we do have, you know, 2 overs and a gut shot, they're kind of dirty outs, because there's, you know, they can make flushes and connected cards, and we don't know where we're at, and we're very, very deep. So here, this is just a very easy 3-bet and get in against the shorties. So that's what we'll do. But yeah, that spot there, I think probably we ended up making the correct play, but I'd rather have said, right, let's do this often. And I think I probably would have gone something like top 25%. I'm not sure, but that's the way my mind was leaning. But I don't think that would have been. I don't know if it would have been a correct decision or not. I mean, the queen's a pretty good card for me, so it can't be too bad. If this guy calls, he can probably fold. I mean, this is really close with this SPR getting this price against 2 players that probably just flicking it in. I'm not going to roll for this, but I have absolutely no idea what to do. I think with the call, we're going to fold, and we can show you what happened in a second. They're still playing the hand, so we can't see it yet. So that was probably quite close. I think I definitely would have called if it had been folded to me, but I think after we get a pretty quick call, it's going to be a king most often. I don't think someone's. I mean, maybe it was good, but it's fine. Not going to win loads of money. So yeah, losing hurts more because I can feel it coming off the top of my graph every time. That's why I don't like it. And there's such a long way to go. It hurts how long there is to go. Like when you're building up and working through stakes, it's easier because you know that there's the goal you can hit, you can move up. That's why this challenge is so difficult, is because I can't move up. Mentally, it's very tough to accept that, but not accept that, but like to realize how fucking much I've got to win and I can't move up to do it, you know. So I'm taking a break and we're playing some 50, and I'm really looking forward to it. And we're going to have some very, very good players. Are going to be reviewing my sessions. We're going to be doing some live sessions on the channel at some point. We're going to have people on viewing my sessions, and we're going to have either in like a live format or in hand histories, or like a, you know how Mark does his hand reviews, Weasel 1991. If you haven't seen those, you should go and check those out on his YouTube. He does hand reviews. Like he'll get people to send in recordings and he'll pause them and stuff. So we'll do that. We'll also do Poker Tracker hand history reviews with some other people. It's going to be really cool, and I'm looking forward to learning some stuff and sharing it with you guys. So that should be really good. And the last thing that I wanted to say was that if you guys don't know, I think I'm probably going to call here, just getting us. I mean, this is really, really close, but probably going to call here just against a weaker player with nut clubs, getting a slightly better price than like less than. If he made it like 7.5, I'd probably just fold. Now we're going to get ourselves into a situation. Obviously, we can never fold this flop. I'm never going to raise either, so we'll just call. 10 turn is going to be one that we will check fold if he decides to barrel again. I don't think we ever have the best hand when he bets twice here. So we will fold. We probably could have saved ourselves a few big blinds there, but never mind. I never ever offer my best play when I'm on here. To be honest, I don't really even know what my best play looks like, but it probably looks better than this. I hope. Anyway. But yeah, the last thing I wanted to say, guys, was when I was in Vegas, I did record some footage for blogging. So I am looking at ways to get that edited, and I think most likely the thing that I'm going to do is get someone to do it for me. So if you know a really good editor or are one yourself, then feel free to get in touch with me. But yeah, I'm most likely not going to do it myself because I've got some pretty good footage and I don't want to waste it on my terrible editing abilities. So this is going to be the last hand, guys, because I've already talked about what we're saying. We've been playing for enough time. This guy... Okay, well, now we have a pretty easy shove, I think. This guy 3-bets me all the fucking time. He came onto my stream the other day and started piping off about how much he'd won at 10-0. And then just started 3-betting me every hand. This is a pretty standard shove, I think. I don't think... okay, well, that's not good news. But at the end of the day, I don't think we can want to do anything differently with this. And we're just going to flip, which is fine. And we've been winning some of these this year, so it would be nice to win another one. And we do. So... yeah, I mean, this guy has been the dynamic. Obviously, you won't be able to have seen. You saw him 3-bet me in an early position not so long ago in this session. So yeah, he's been at me a lot, and obviously, you can see every single hand that I'm playing because he's following me on stream. You can't see them now because I'm recording, but he can see every hand that I'm playing, and he's been attacking me a lot. So that's something I do worry about as well. Like people being able to exploit me because they can see all of my hands, and if they're like this guy is. It looks by his stats, you can see pretty competent, certainly more competent than average, and apparently a winning player. So if you can see all my hands and you tell me none of yours, you're going to have an advantage all day long. So that is a concern. Obviously, it's not ideal, but we move on. And Jack's there in that spot. We could 4-bet to like a smaller sizing. He's going to take a flopping position a lot, but also with the guy behind, he'll probably call off once Woodward folds. So I think that's a pretty standard 4-bet shove rather than anything else. It's too much in the middle. He's also made it 9.8, which is pretty weird. I think he made it 9.8, did he not? And I think he does this because he thinks that he knows that he's at me, and therefore he can get more value because he thinks I'm going to believe him less, which I think is just a pure mistake. You shouldn't do stuff like this. For whatever reason he's doing it, this should just be 7. This is just way too big. And yeah, I think versus that sizing and this call, I mean, obviously we'd just 4-bet to a normal sizing if this guy hadn't come along, but with the extra $1 in there, just all in. And we wanted to see what everyone had when we had pocket 10s. Yeah, so this guy had an 8, which is, I think the odds are, this guy saved me money by calling. I think the odds are generally that one of them's going to have a king, so I think we made a good fold. But yeah, the ace king hand, ace king clubs hand was interesting. I'm going to go and show that to some people now, maybe actually, and see what they think. But yeah, I'm going to try and have a much more positive attitude towards the game. I'm going to play some higher stakes to mix in to keep myself interested and motivated. And I'm going to continue to work hard in the challenge and hopefully continue to show you guys some better results in the future. But that's going to do it, guys. If you've enjoyed the video, please do drop a like on it. It really does help me out and pushes it out to other people. If subscribers don't watch the videos, then other people don't see the videos, and then they don't do as well as they could do. So I really, really appreciate everyone's support. It does mean a great deal to me. Hopefully, guys will be tuning into the Twitch channel soon, and I'll see you there. But for now, that's going to do it. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.